Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit of accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge, they don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like, wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. It is Pam Esquire, also known as Your Law Intellect. Welcome to this channel. Hey, Thais, I seen you were the first one showing love. Thank you so much for your support, as always. Rhodey, Sin, Love Jones, Miss Bay, Angie, Linda. Glad to see all of you guys on this Friday. I was going to do a little quick upload, but I said, well, let me just go ahead and do a live, because I have been getting, of course, inboxes asking me about this Melly trial. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, and I know that everyone was not streaming this trial with me, we have streamed for 16 days the rapper YNW Melly trial, which is a rapper out of Florida who was accused, or who is accused of essentially unaliving two of his best friends, who are also a part of the YNW rap conglomerate association, of whatever you want to call it. Well, we heard a lot of testimony, and I think when we started out this trial together, we had some trolls that were in the chat, free Melly. Then we had some that was like, no, he's guilty, he needs to fry. And it was all based on what the media was saying. So what I did, and I think I did a decent job, was all of those that came over in this chat, we said, please have an open mind. I want you to look at the prosecution's case, the state, and we want you to look at the defense state case. And I think after that, by the end of it, everybody was kind of confused. We were all like, I don't know. I said I thought it would be a hung jury. I didn't think the prosecution proved their case, like beyond a reasonable doubt, in my opinion. But I didn't necessarily believe that there would be a whole jury, the jury would have the decision to acquit him. So I said a hung jury. You guys have to go back and you can quote me on that. When I said it, I was like, it's looking real hung jury-ish to me. But I came on here not to see what I think, but to see what you guys think. So we had closing arguments yesterday. Yeah, today's Friday. Yesterday we had closing arguments, and I just want to see what your thoughts were. I thought the prosecution did a decent job putting everything together. However, there were still holes that they could not fill. I think she did pretty good. I wasn't that impressed with the defense. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I thought DLK, as we call him, would be the one that would present the closing arguments. So to see the other guy, I can't think of his real name, but you guys then renamed everybody. I think you call him Sunroof. He came forward and he did the defense closing, and I just wasn't that impressed. However, the evidence kind of is what it is, and I still was like, the jury is going to go back there and they're going to have a hard time with this case. And that's what it seems like is happening as we sit here today. They are still deliberating. There were a few questions that did come out. One of them was, well, what first, before we get to that, the jury seemed to be mixing up names. They didn't know who the names of the people were. They didn't know who Cortland. They didn't know who these people was. That was the first thing. I was like, so there was a lot of confusion going on in this trial that we talked about when we got confused. So it goes to show you just the similarities of our thought processes, right? So that was one of the issues. Another issue that occurred when they came out was they wanted to hear the testimony of what is his name? Travion Glass. He was one of the individuals that was in the red Mitsubishi. And I actually picked up on some stuff from the defense that I didn't pick up before. So it helped me as well. So to me, the Travion Glass testimony somewhat corroborated. It definitely didn't conflict so much with Melly's alibi, who said that he got into the vehicle, but everybody in the car was asleep. But anyway, let me look at your chat. You said I'm holding out for not guilty. Okay. Let me look in the chat and see what you guys think. If anybody, I'm going to drop this link. So if anybody wants to give their opinions, because I haven't been streaming it, I've been unable to stream it because I've just like literally been super busy. Plus, the last time I streamed it, we had a copyright issue going on, and I'm not trying to lose my channel over Melly. It ain't that deep, but we can definitely come and discuss it. But let me go back in some of your comments. I just put the link in the chat. Let's look back and see what's going on here. Yeah, the jury is asking a lot of questions in this case. Hey, California. You said you missed most of it. So, well, that was the gist of it. It's an unaliving case. And it's basically, for those that didn't watch it, the prosecution case is mainly circumstantial. So a lot of it is cell phone tower footprints, cameras showing a car here and there. Nothing puts a GUN in his hand, no DNA, no gunpowder, none of that. So everything is really circumstantial. So if you didn't watch it, I can totally see you be confused, because we were confused. We were waiting on the prosecution to close so that they can put it all together, because it was so piecemeal the way they gave it to us. Then they're trying to make it a heightened standard, I guess, or aggravating factor, by saying that Melly was in a gang, which really wasn't proven on there to me, because they had a gang expert, but then it seemed like Melly was kind of dodging, trying to be in one. It was a lot. So I understand if you guys weren't following it, this may not be the live for you. I just wanted to kick it with the people that have been following it, because they've been inboxing me and DMing me, asking me questions. So Bad said not guilty. Can't even get it out. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Miss Baez. Thank you so much for coming on. I think they believe the attorney's last witness. Yeah, and I missed the part because I had to step out. So apparently there were two. The jury wanted a read back from two of the witnesses. They wanted a read back from, of course, Travion Glass, but I'm not sure who the second one was. Who was the second one? If you can tell me who the second one was, that'd be dope. Hey.
Hi. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for popping up here.
I've been watching you since Tori. I love your channel.
That'll be next month. He has his sentencing, so I'll be there for that too. So
okay, I got some questions and maybe you can help me out. Okay, they said that I agreed Glass testimony kind of goes with Davis testimony, because he said he was asleep. He didn't wake up until they pulled up to the gate. Mm-hmm. You was in the front. So how do you know they didn't pull over?
Yeah. And I missed that. I'm going to be honest. And there may have been a time where I was doing something else during his testimony, because I don't know if I sat for his whole testimony or not, but I definitely missed that part. I was like, it really corroborates his testimony. It doesn't contradict it.
Right. And if you're the last person in getting out of the car and you go straight upstairs, we all have done it before. We come in the house, be like, oh, I didn't know you was here. So you could have missed them, So that was those two questions with Glass. My next question was, in the text message, Sack Chaser said, when Melly said, well, I'm gonna go to a hotel, and he said, well, we can't get in because you have the key. The question is, who had the key to let him in? And that corroborates what the young man Davis has said. Melly
Yeah.
opened the door,
Yep.
right? So then the next thing was the prosecutor threatened everybody to testify. Like if she did not like what your testimony was, she didn't talk to you. This young man
Yeah.
Davis didn't have a criminal record, so she chose not, and that's how you can look at it. You chose not to talk to him because you had nothing over his head. You had nothing to force him to say what you wanted him to say,
Yep.
right?
Tunnel
And
vision.
then my last belief,
that goes to what, not to cut you off, but that goes
correct.
to what the defense is saying is that a lot of times you get tunnel vision on who you think the person is, so you X out anything that really like what we call exculpatory evidence that is favorable to them, because you're so tunnel vision. But of course, the defense is going to bring out the exculpatory evidence. That's their job. And so now that takes away the credibility from the prosecution. I've just seen a lot of that in this case.
And yes, and then the third thing is, how is it that y'all looked into this car 3 different times, but then when you got Mr. Christopher Williams to go look into the car, y'all found the bullet? How did they miss it if they had it for all this time? That raised an eyebrow. Wait a minute.
And a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff with Juvie's father, like people, he goes live. He has a channel on YouTube, and he voices his opinion. I have my, he's grieving, so I'm gonna stay off of, him and some of the red flags that kind of have been with his father. But he apparently, I guess, when he went on the other day, he mentioned that there were text messages, I guess, between him and Juvie, where Juvie was asking about carrying GUNs too. So it was like, why didn't the prosecution submit evidence related to their phones as well? Why did you just pick this phone that you think was connected to Melly? I just think it was just so many holes that they should have found. If they found favorable evidence for Melly, they should have found a defense to that or an explanation, as opposed to trying to avoid it. I think avoiding it just made it worse, in my opinion.
Right. And then it was something else that the prosecutor, because I got something for the defense too, because the defense could have went in on and said, well, why didn't y'all look for the bags? That was because they pointed it out. The prosecutor pointed it out. Okay, you asked Glass what was they carrying, but they never followed up with, well, let me find out what this bag is. If you noticed on this video that you done showed us about 30,000 times, why you didn't look for that bag? I don't get that part.
They didn't investigate much. Like, a lot of this stuff just happened this year. Why are you still investigating stuff from 5 years ago, 2 months ago?
Right. So they wasn't. And then my next question, and I'm gonna let you go. Manslaughter. So my thing was, okay, if y'all had this strong case, why did you drop it down to manslaughter if you think that you wanted to get something to stick?
Yeah, they always try to drop it. Lesser, because the problem with first degree premeditated murder is just that it's premeditated. So that means the jury may say, like how we all think, what would make someone want to do that to their best friends? Like, who does that? Who is gonna just go in there and it would have to be planned? So now you got testimony that doesn't show that it was an argument, right? The defense pulled that out. There wasn't any arguing. They was asleep in the studio. Wasn't nobody beefing. They all just left for money purposes because it costs to be in the studio. So you get up and you get in the car. What would just make you snap and just do that to your friends? That it doesn't sound premeditated. So therefore, they try to do a lesser inclusive, which is manslaughter. And I think the max for that is 15 years and like a $10,000 fine or something like that. So they want to get them on something. If they can't get them,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so that's the reason why that they did and it probably was the defense too that asked for a lesser inclusive. I'm sure that the defense, a manslaughter would be a win over life or the death penalty because it's the max is 15 years, but you have sentencing guidelines, so that's the max. So based on your history, your past, that's where his mental capacity may come in, whatever. So he probably wouldn't get the max. So if you looking at, I know people that got manslaughter and they've done 7 years. So that could be a win too, as opposed to you getting a lethal injection now. Some wins aren't always just you getting acquitted, right?
A win is a win. I don't care how you get it. My a win is a win. But my last question, that's why I will get off of here. The thing that I also had is when the prosecution was talking, and she made a statement to the young man that was on the stand, and she said when they were trying to say that he did not come and talk to her until May 5th, and then that's my dad's birthday too. That's why I remember that date, May 5th, and she didn't think that it added up to what she said, so she didn't look no further. You are supposed to investigate everything, right?
Tunnel vision. That's what you're saying is what the defense is saying. It was tunnel vision, because that's just like when the defense listed 13 different potential suspects, if you recall that, and they went through all these different potential suspects. When the prosecutor came back, this was when Moretti was on the stand. The prosecutor did her redirect. She said the prosecutor was very adamant and said, well, you let them go because you looked at their text messages and they were all cool. They were saying, I love you, man, like coming up with reasons why they didn't further investigate them. But to me, that just wasn't a reason not to further investigate them, because Melly said, I would never do no stuff like that. He said that in a text. So why didn't you let him go? If that's your, if that's your thought process, why wouldn't you let him go based on that? So that's why I said, it's going to be rough for them. I knew it was going to be rough for them back there. I didn't think they were going to say this soon to do a note and say, well, what happens if we can't come to an agreement? So they probably back there fighting. There's probably some very staunch people that's like, no, he did it. And there's probably some really strong people saying he didn't do nothing.
I don't think they might turn 2. I don't think they're gonna turn all 6 because it's split down the middle. I don't think they're gonna turn all of them. What you think?
It's gonna be hard. That's why I said it was looking like a hung jury to me by the time they finished. And I think if the defense did a little bit better than what they did, they could have got a not guilty. If they would have put things together a little bit better, like how we're discussing it, and we're able to show, like, you see, like when it came to Travion Glass, they almost discredited him in the closing argument, when they could have said Travion Glass, he barely knew what was going on. He said that he doesn't remember much that happened during that time because he was drinking, he was smoking, but he was in the front seat. He didn't even remember he wasn't in the back seat. He was in the front seat, and he was asleep the whole time. He never woke up. So who do you believe? The person that was in the back seat that says that's where Melly was, who woke up to Melly being the one there that said that there was a key? Like, they could have compared those two testimonies a little bit better. Now that I heard the reread, I think that they should have compared it a little bit more, and it would have helped the defense better.
And also, and I promise you I'm gonna get it off. When they said that Davidson was Melly's longtime school friend, but Trayvon Glass was Juvie's friend. So how can you sit and say one is lying and the other one ain't, and the other one is lying and the other one ain't? Because both of them was friends with each other. How do you know that he's not mad, or he like, I'm trying not to go back to jail, so I'm gonna tell you what you want to know, so I don't have to go to jail?
And that was part of it. He definitely ain't want to be there. He like, man, I'm trying my best not to say nothing about nothing, and this lady making me talk. That's how he was looking.
And they never asked, why did y'all go to Frito Banks' house? Why did y'all not go to Juvie's mama's house? Because nobody said they went to Juvie's mama's house or Chris' mama's house. They all went to Frito Banks' house. They didn't even go back to Melly's house. Everybody went to. Why did y'all choose Frito Banks' house? Nobody answered that question. Right. What was the reason to go there? Everybody who was on that stand said they went to Frito Banks' house.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. It's a lot of.
I think it left them with more questions, which is what the problem is. What you're saying right now is the problem. But here's the part of the testimony from the replay. I'm gonna play that real quick. But thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. I think I played it.
Answer. What did question? The statement that you gave to the police was a few days after the incident. Answer. Yes. Question. And you said then that you had gone into the rear of the red vehicle. Answer. To the best of my knowledge, yes. Question. And then you watched this trial unfold on TV over the last couple of weeks, right? Answer. No. Question. You didn't watch any of this trial? Answer. I watched it, but I didn't watch it unfold or whatever you're trying to say. Question. Okay. You watched this on TV, this trial. Answer.
Now, what this is for all of you guys coming in, and make sure you hit the like button, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so, all of that housekeeping stuff. But if you don't know, this is the jury sent a note and they wanted to hear the testimony again of Travion Glass. Because they don't have the transcripts, or they didn't allow them to have the transcripts, what they did was they had the jury come back into the courtroom, and then they had this lady reread the transcript. So what I am putting right now is a clip that I thought was very interesting on Travion Glass, which was a prosecution witness that they were using to try to, I guess, prove Melly wasn't in the car when they went back to the apartment. And this is the defense's, she's reading the defense's cross with Travion Glass. So that's what she's reading, just to set it up for you guys. So you'll know what I'm talking about. This is the piece when I heard it again, I was like, oh, shoot. Okay, this actually corroborates what was being said by Melly's alibi witness, which is Adrian Davis, I think, AD.
Question. And you saw a video of yourself get into the red vehicle, right? Answer. Correct. Question. And you learned that the statement that you gave a few days after the incident was gone. Let me reread that question. And you learned that the statement that you gave a few days after the incident was wrong. Answer. Because I said I was in the back and I was in the front. Question. Yes, exactly that. Answer.
So at first, when he gave the statement to the police, he said he was in the back seat. Now, when they showed the video leaving the studio, you can see that Glass was actually in the front seat. So this was what the defense was pulling out. Like, you said you were in the back seat, but you was in the front seat, which does make a difference. If you're in the front seat sleep, you may not see what's going on in the back seat. So that's why I said the defense did a lot better on their cross than I knew that they did. But that's because I didn't know about their alibi witness, which we're going to discuss when this is over. And according to Bat, she said that and that's what I was wondering, if they asked to hear the alibi witness, which is AD as well. So what happened is, it looks like the judge didn't do a readback of AD, and then because they wanted it at the same time. But because the judge didn't do the readback at the same time, the jury withdrew wanting to hear AD's. I didn't know if it was his testimony or somebody else, but according to Bats, it sounds like it was AD's, which is the alibi witness for Melly. So that's why the defense was like, well, we want a mistrial because you done heard this person who was the prosecutors, but because the judge didn't read it in, correlation with this, as we asked, now they don't want to hear it anymore. And that's our alibi witness, and they don't want to hear that. And I said that in the inbox with somebody who was DMing me, and I was like, if they ask for ADs, then they're worried about the credibility. They're trying to figure out who was telling the truth between Glass and AD. So that's what their biggest fight probably is back there, on who was being honest between those two fact witnesses. That means all this that the prosecution put on, trying to talk about footprints and phone records and all of that, it wasn't hitting as much as they thought it was hitting, just like it wasn't for us. And we was like, girl, move on. Like, what are you doing? You're beating a dead horse. You losing us. We don't know what you're talking about. To the jury, they wanted to hear who was there and who can tell us what happened that was there. They want more fact witnesses, is what they were more into, which means that the defense may have played their cards right by not trying to do a bunch of more experts and only did a fact witness. Because we were all wondering, like, that's all you did was one witness? Maybe they played it right. It was gutsy, but it may have been a good play by them.
Piece? Question. Yes, that piece. Answer. Okay, yeah. Question. You forgot where you sat in the vehicle a few days after? You can answer. Answer. Answer what? Question. That question. Is that correct, sir? Answer. Did I forget? Question. Did you forget? Answer. I could have made a mistake and said I was in the back and remembered that I was in the front. Question. So when you told the law enforcement officer.
So somebody is in here, which I can see where this is going, saying Glass's testimony goes with the evidence. AD, first of all, don't all caps in my comment. Don't do that. You can talk regular. Okay, let me delete you right quick. Because we don't all caps over here. You can say what you want to say, and you can do it respectfully. And that's that. But and you can have your opinion or whatever over here, but be respectful. Don't all caps. That is my pet peeve. It don't make me acknowledge you any faster. It don't make me feel like you any more right. You can just talk regular in the chat. It's not that deep. But to say that Glass essentially his goes with the evidence is not true. Because he's not even being honest. Because he's saying he was in the back seat and he was in the front, according to the video. He watched the trial and seen like, oh snap, I told them I was in the back seat and I was really in the front. And when we heard it, it didn't mean much to us then because we didn't know anything about the alibi witness. We didn't know anything about that. But let me go on.
You had gone into the back of the vehicle a few days after the incident. Answer. That's what I thought to the best of my knowledge. Question. That's what you thought? Okay. And when you got to Melly's house that morning, you had a key? Answer. Did you have a key? Question. No, I didn't. Did you? Answer. No, I didn't. Question. Who had a key? Answer. I don't know. Question. Do you know of anybody having a key to Melly's house? Answer. I don't know. Question. Okay. But you did gain entrance to the house that morning after you left the studio. Answer. Yeah. Question. And then you said you just went and crashed and went to sleep in Judy's room, right? Answer. Factual. And you were awakened by your friend Drew? Answer. I did not say that. Question. Were you awakened by your friend Drew? Answer. I said I was awakened by phone calls. Question. Did you ever make a statement differently where you claimed that you were awakened by Drew? Do you understand the question, sir?
Hey, Black Letter Law, if you want to, this is our law and crime commentator. That's our favorite commentator. If you want to come on, I can put the link in there. If not, it's cool. I know it's just random, so you may be busy. But I know that you were doing commentary on it. So if you want to come on and just give us your take on what you think about the closing and the questions, if you can. If not, I get it. I understand. I hate when people tell me, like, can you just jump on right now? But just let me know. I'll re-put the link in the chat.
Answer. I don't even remember getting asked a question. The court, all right, restate your question. Question. Did you ever make a statement to the police? Answer. I don't recall. Question. Okay. Do you recall now being asked this question and giving this answer? Questioned by the detective. Then, and so when you first saw Drew, when did you see him? Where did you see him at? Your house or Frida's house? Answer. At the house in Miramar, at Melly's house. Okay. He woke me up. It was like, come to the hospital. You said that? Answer. I don't recall. Question. Don't recall? All right. When we spoke to you last week, you said you were awakened by phone calls from Christopher Thomas's mom, right? Answer, plenty of phone calls, different people. Question, pardon me? Answer, different people. Question, different people. And the one that you answered was Ricky. So you were awakened by a phone call from Ricky. Answer, to the best of my knowledge. Question, so as you recall it today, Ricky is the one that woke you up with phone calls and not Drew that woke you up in person. Answer, correct. Question, okay. So you smoke a lot of marijuana, right? Answer, possibly. Question, you smoke it anytime you get a chance, I think is how you phrased it. Answer, it's your answer, yeah. Question, that was your answer. Answer, I smoke when I smoke. Question, you smoke when you smoke? Answer, yeah. Question, and when's that? Answer, when I smoke. Question, and when would that be? Answer, when I smoke. Question, how many times a day? Answer, twice, 3 times maybe. Question, and on the 9th question before you got to the studio, on the day in question, you had smoked at least 2 joints, right? Answer, that's right. Question, is that right? Answer, I don't recall.
Turn that down. Turn that down. It's feedbacking on the live. Can you hear me? Turn that down. Feedbacking on the live. Hold on, I'm about to mute the mic. Okay, let me mute his mic. Okay, we got like 2 more. I just want you guys to hear to test the readback, part of the readback that I thought was important.
My bad, I'm trying to turn it down.
When you got to the studio, you were smoking, correct? Answer, possibly. Question, were you or weren't you? Answer, that was 5 years ago. Question, you forgot? Answer, I don't recall. Question, and you were drinking Hennessy, I believe, or do you not recall that either? Answer, it's possible. Question, possible, but you don't recall. Answer, I don't. Question, okay, so you don't recall much from that night then, do you? Right? Fair? Answer, right. Question, and when you got in the red vehicle and left, you went to sleep in the vehicle when you left the studio, right? Answer, yeah. Question, and you didn't wake up until you got to the guard gate? Answer, I woke up when we came to a stop. Question, you did not wake up until you got to the guard gate. Am I right or wrong? Answer, I woke up when we came to a stop. It was at the guard gate, yes.
So that lets you know that he was asleep in the car, which corresponds with what AD was saying, that everybody in the car was asleep, and this guy Glass was in the front seat, and then I think AD said Glass was the last one to get out of the car too. So I think that's what the whole, whether you believe that Glass just didn't see when Melly got in the car and didn't see when they got out, because he was the very last one to get out of the vehicle and he was in the front seat and he was asleep the whole time. So go ahead, what you got to say, Michi? Michi, unmute yourself. He can't even unmute himself.
Yo, my bad. What's going on, Pam?
What's happening? You all right?
I don't even know if it's on.
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yo, my bad. What's going on, Pam?
Michi, you struggling?
Nothing. Just got off work, just chilling. I don't even know if it's on.
Turn your mic. Turn your device down. Turn your device that has.
Nothing. Just got off work, just chilling.
Okay, Michi, you can't play. Turn your mic. Turn your device down.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, you can't like watch the show and be on here. It's gonna be too bad. Michi struggling. Where's the girl at? Yeah, you can't like watch the show and be on here. Okay.
So, what do you think, man? Yeah, what do you think is going to be the, you know what I mean? How you think he going to come out?
I don't know. I'm trying to get your I said a hung jury. What's your
So, what do you
take?
think, man? Yeah, what do you think going to be the, how you think he going to come out?
Michi, turn your device down. Love, can you hear me? Let me
I
mute.
can hear you.
I gotta mute him. Michi got to get it together over there.
Yeah, he got it going on right now.
What's what's
He got a whole lot going on right now.
Michi? Look at all the advice in the comments. They telling you to turn your device down. Baby. Come on now, Michi. I need you to get with the program.
Come on, Beachy. You
Then
got
you know
this.
they
You
gonna
got
be in the
this.
comments after the video talking about her live was so ghetto. You need to have it together. Why you let people on there don't even know what they doing? Then I gotta block more people. See, Cupcakes, I done already had to block 2 people since you wasn't
That I need you to work on that because you done started right off. I thought the D don't show up till at least midway, but I saw his coming. I saw his coming. I was like, oh yeah, you gonna keep on. You gonna keep on. She gonna catch them caps
them
and you out
hard
of here.
caps, baby. Listen, I might need some trauma therapy or something because them hard caps be taking me somewhere. I'm like, who you talking to? That's what
Right. I
All
looked
right,
at
I'm
them.
here. I'm here.
Oh,
all right,
oh,
Michi.
he sound normal.
Okay, Michi, tell me what you think. No.
Maybe he ain't really here.
All right,
Okay.
go ahead, Love Joe.
So, okay. So you knew I was coming. You,
Uh-huh.
if you see me in the comments, you like looked over there like she be here in a minute. But anyway, that like I said in our little on our community wall, my whole thing was is do I believe AD? Because if I believe AD, and I partially believe Glass, because Glass didn't know what he was talking about. Like he said, he smoked before he went to the studio. And once they was in the studio, that studio was a cloud. Come on, I mean, just it is what it is.
Not
You know
All
what
white.
I'm
right.
saying?
Like I've been saying, I really think
Uh
that
oh.
Melly's going to win off technicality, but I think Portland might go down.
Okay. How do you come up with that though? When how is he gonna go down? Like, what is he gonna go down for? Because it would change the whole dynamics. Because the prosecution, they're essentially all of their witnesses. They they like they're not their witnesses, but they're experts. They said it was somebody from the back seat. So they said that it couldn't have been him that did it. So now if Melly gets off, how are you gonna say? Because they're gonna be able to use that he was found not guilty. So what exactly is going to be if Melly didn't do it and your experts are saying that I couldn't do it, then why are we not just gonna go by this drive-by sentiment?
I think they could get him not for what they charged him with now, because that wouldn't fly if Melly got off. You know what I mean? But maybe they can come up with some other charges because he was the one to drive him to. He drove him to the hospital. So you know how they do.
Yeah, but he's saying it's a drive. That's why I'm gonna have to double check to see what those charges are because I think it would have to change their whole theory because they're
That's what
gonna
I'm saying.
have
He would have. They would
essentially
have
after the
to.
fact and all of that. But if Melly didn't do it, then
That's what I'm saying. They would have to change their charges completely. You know what I mean? If they want to still charge him with something, they couldn't charge him with what they are charging him with today. You know
right.
what I mean?
They would have to restructure because I would use their own experts to say that I didn't do. You can't put the gun, can't put it in his hand because I would use your own experts to say it couldn't have been me. I was driving.
Yep. Because remember that. Remember the one said, "Oh, if he put his arm back there, that's too awkward." Remember that testimony?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So he like, hey, I couldn't have shot him. What you talking about? Your man said I couldn't have shot him. I know I didn't shoot him, but your man testified that I couldn't have shot him.
Okay, let
So
me
you
see who
can't get.
this is right here. Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine. I what I was going to say. I have a degree in criminal justice and one in forensic science,
Okay.
and I've been looking at the trial and everything, and I got young teenager kids, and they're saying, "Mama, he's not guilty," and I kept looking at it. I believe that they botched up the job on the do the I believe in my heart that he did do the crime, but I really wish they would have did more better forensic. Because when I went to school, what they a detective was up there talking, I was like, oh my God, they just did not do that right. They didn't do anything right, and but I still think he should for the crime that he committed, and I think he should I don't think he should get a death the death penalty, but I do think he should get life in prison because and people do have split personalities because we the first thing in forensic science class the my instructor first thing he said, look in this room and can you find a murderer in this room, and we was like
Mm.
no, and we was like no, don't nobody look like a murderer, we all in here trying to get a degree, and he said that's what we all. He said people don't look like murders, but we are murders. He said everybody in this room can be a murderer, and
Oh
that was
my.
the first thing I was thinking about when I was thinking. He said everybody in this. We had 30 people in that room that day. The first day of class, he said everybody can be a murderer. He said so you can never say no. They don't look like a murderer. They don't look like. He said everybody have a snapping period.
Mm.
I'm thinking he just maybe a snapped and he needs to be held accountable because if two young men was my child, I would be going hard. So that's what I try to tell the young people and my teenagers that I got. What if that was you that got killed? He killed you. I know he producing good music. That's all they keep saying. He's a blah blah blah. He's a but yeah, I do believe he has two, three split personalities. When I listen to some of his music, my daughter was playing. I believe he do have split personalities, and we have kids like that. And by me being in criminal justice, So what do I mean is you is you I mean I understand the teacher and the girl on YouTube, she can't even get on her page for everybody. No, he's not guilty. Free, free, free. No, but if what if that was your brother, sister, your cousin? Would you want him to be free?
What we did was we just looked at everything, and I said keep an open mind. It could go either way, keep an open mind on, but you have to prove your case beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the system that we're in, and I agree with you. I think the investigation was horrible, and if the investigation was better, if they interviewed people, maybe the case may be tighter if they had done a better investigation. I would agree, but we don't know, so we're just speculating. But I also get you, there are victims here and their family deserves justice for what was done to there. But you want to make sure that the justice that's served are the right people. And that's all I try to relay is it's a lot of people that are wrongfully convicted. So you want to make sure they prove their case. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want it to be a bunch of, we have a lot of circumstantial evidence cases, of course, out here because you don't always get DNA. You don't always have GUNs. You don't always have witnesses that can say. So a lot of these cases are circumstantial. However, you have to prove your case. And I don't understand it just seemed like to me the prosecution was way too confident. They're way too confident. They just should not have been as confident as they were. Just in my opinion. But let's see what you're talking about. I don't know. I don't see no face on here. Let me see. What you talking about?
Can I chime in real quick?
I'm in a grocery store right now, but I'm gonna
Oh,
keep it real brief. I'm not gonna hold y'all too long, but I'm gonna say it like this though. YNW, you know what I'm saying? Melly, that's like my first cousin. He when I say like, really ain't blood, but like tied in. So things that they showed y'all in court, all that ain't true. Understand this. Hold on, let me say, let me let you keep fast by real quick. Hold on. No,
I
but check
put
this out.
you want me to put you back down? You can come back on later.
Real quick. I might have said, can y'all hear me? I'm gonna say it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so basically, Jamie King wound up Nelly's mother. She was threatened by said teacher multiple times. And Seth Chase also back then he shot at her. You heard me? Like they ain't gonna put that out there. When she was leaving work, her car got shot at. That's why she said, "I got guns way bigger than you got." He took some dudes shoot at her. The reason why I know it was because she had a text message when he was saying, "If you better watch your car next time, that could be you." So it's always been threats. Seth Chase been threatening her life, her safety, everything was understood. So understand if a man played with your mother, you gonna have to take him out. Plus, Julie was siding with Sack Chase, so to the point where Melly was like, y'all two disrespect my mom to the point where I'm gonna have to handle y'all, but I can't handle y'all face to face, but I can set something up. So that's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
okay. I don't want to cut you off, but I can't hardly hear you. It's mumbling. So I know you said you in the grocery store, so maybe you could come back. Hey, you come. You wanna come on? Say hi.
I
This
heard
is
him clear.
YNW husband right here.
I heard him clear as day because I got headphones in.
Okay, what was he saying? I didn't hear him.
Hey, Dale, how you doing over
All right,
there?
that's it. Just wait.
What's
He
going
about
on,
to go.
y'all?
He about to go to work.
Have a good day at work, Dan. Have a good day at work.
All right.
Um,
But
yeah, I could hear him because I got my earbuds in, right?
Okay, what was
And
he saying? If it was,
okay,
it
so
was
he was
something
saying
for
he
you
said he was in
two
a grocery store,
guys. Okay.
and he said he was in a grocery store, and that everything you hearing in court about Melly ain't true, and there's a whole lot of stuff that they didn't want to put up, but the truth is, Sack Chaser was did have beef with Melly's mom, and he said he know for a fact this is him, so I'm giving my allegedly.
Well, let me put my
Don't
list
come after
on his
me. Please
side. That's why I
put
said,
up
wait a minute.
allegedly.
Hold
Because
on.
I am
Wait
repeating, this is hearsay. Amen. Amen. This is hearsay. And then he said, and then he, and then
Read
he
all
said,
the disclaimers. That was that follower. I don't know none of these people. I'm just letting
I,
people come up and talk now. I
straight up, I don't know nobody. Her disclaimer is my disclaimer. Okay, so and then he said that Sack Chaser and Melly's mom, Sack Chaser like had a real problem with Melly's mom, and then he know for a fact this was him, not me. He said he know for a fact that Sack Chaser shot at Melly's mom. Her car got shot up, and then he said they didn't pull out the text message where Sack Chaser sent to his mom saying next when he shot up the car, next time you better watch your car when you back out or something
oh
like that.
my.
And then you came on and you said you mumbling. I can bring you back. I can put you down and you can come
I was
back. And I was
saying,
like, please don't put him down, baby. Don't.
I'm sorry. Listen, it was sounding real sensationalized, but I don't need nobody talking about. I don't want to become a part of no FBI investigations neither.
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. I was tuned in though. I was ear hustling for real. I was like, ooh, let me get my let me get the left one. Put that in there.
That YNW muffled voice.
He was I was like, and when I seen his name, I was like, oh no, here we
Yeah,
go.
I said I was iffy for a minute. I said, wait a minute. I seen the picture. I said, oh Lord, what I done did putting this thing. I want
I
y'all to
didn't think you was gonna leave.
read none of
I
this
didn't think you was gonna leave him up there that long because I was like, do she see the name? Do she want it for real? I was like, if she want it, I'ma ride with her. I'm gonna be in the back seat, but I'ma ride with her.
I seen Cupcake in there like, oh God, oh God. And
Hey,
Dad was standing right next to me like,
listen,
Dad was standing right here looking like let somebody go off to the left. That's how he was.
listen. The first thing I heard that man say was he was Millie's first cousin. I was like, oh Lord, oh Father God,
He
this
did. He
is
said
what.
not his real first cousin, but his first. We that of his first
Mm-mm,
cousin,
How you
dog.
gonna say
mm-mm.
not his real
I
first
don't
guy?
need first
We
cousin,
ain't
friends
cousins,
down to street
cousins.
cousins. Mm-mm. Yeah, I heard everything you said. I got my earphones in too, and I was so glad when you took him down. Sorry, sir. God bless you. Go with
Okay,
God.
so since you heard everything, I said what he said, right?
You said what he said. You
There we
did.
go.
You
Okay.
said what he
It was
said.
muffled to
He
me.
was
I ain't got no
basically,
headphones.
yeah. You said what he said. Mhm.
Well, alrighty then. Well, that was that man's story. I just let him come on and say his piece. I know that now they did show text messages showing that there was obviously a beef between Melly's mom and Sack Chaser.
Mhm.
Now that we did see that there was a beef. Now to the extent of the beef that was just told, I don't know about all that. I don't know the extent of
But
it.
they didn't show the text messages between Sack Chaser and Melly's
The
mom.
mom,
They
right?
showed Sack Chaser and Melly talking about Melly's mom.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is
y'all
correct.
gotta protect your girl because this a deep. There are really some pro. I just heard about this young man like because of this trial. I didn't know nothing about. Remember, we were all the first day. All of us old heads were sitting here trying to
Yep.
figure out who is this girl. What you find out? Oh well, I googled it. Ooh, this is daddy. This is Juvie's daddy. Got a lot to say. We was
We don't rename him, Pam. We renamed him. Give him his rightful name.
oh YNW stepdaddy.
That's right.
That's his name. But yeah, we was just
YNW
like,
stepdad.
man, he got a whole lot of names. But yeah, Cupcake, tell us about the stuff that because Juvie's dad did come on yesterday and he had a lot to say. So
Oh my gosh.
talk about what he had to say yesterday.
Oh man, I don't know where to start because YNW stepdaddy be on his lives for like 5 hours and 10 hours. You got to really just peel through what he's saying. But um, this most recent one, he was upset that he was being, I guess, when Sunroof got up there and was asking, or I guess he was giving his closing testimony, and he was asking why didn't they um, interview uh, him as a potential suspect or something like that. And also, he said something about he didn't know that he had beef with Sack Chaser. He never had beef with Sack Chaser. Um, if T Money, if I'm missing something, please drop it in the chat, sis, because I know you watch it too. Um, it's kind of hard to keep up with that man. A lot of people. He said that he kept repeating that he thought allegedly. Let me put allegedly. That he thought that Melly's mom wanted him to come to the courthouse to get him set up for when he left the courthouse. Um, I mean, I don't even remember half the stuff I told you yesterday, Pam. I'd actually have to go back and look, but
Now the text,
it's
remember you
so
mentioned something about text messages from Juvie that had to do with a GLOCK. You mentioned
okay.
too.
Okay, yes, I remember. Okay, so in one of his many conversations, he lets people come up like we're up here with Pam, and he lets them talk and he lets them ask questions and he'll answer them according to his truth, right? So he said that Juvie actually, now I'm gonna put allegedly, but you can go over there and hear it for yourself. But he said that Juvie actually sent him the same kind of text that Melly sent his mom asking for the pow pow.
Mhm.
Um, he said that he sent him one too, asking for a GLOCK, and he said that, and then after he didn't, he said, "All right, I'll get back with y'all," and then he never heard from him again after that. So do with that what you will, but that's what he said allegedly over there on his page, on his live. His words, not mine.
All right, what you have to say, Mr. Combo? Hello? Okay, I'm gonna have to mute you because you can't have no music on here. You gonna get me
That that comment you got up from Jeff James.
Yeah, there is one thing that bothers me, and that is if they were following each other, then did the red car see the drive by? Well, if everybody was asleep, I guess not,
Hmm.
huh? Just like everybody was saying they was asleep in the car. If they did see it. So apparently there must have been some point where they went their separate ways. So perhaps the great, and I'm just making this up. I don't know if it's true, but perhaps the great car, the Jeep said, I want to go get food. And Melly was like, I'm ready to go lay down. So then he called them over in the second car and said, hey, where y'all at? I want to go home. Or they needed him to get in the house. Whatever the reason. People think it's crazy that there was a pullover and a switch in the cars, but we don't really know what would be the circumstances behind that if it happened. I'm just playing just, I ain't saying one way or another, y'all. So don't come for me. But I'm just saying, just whatever. There must have been some communication, which would have been nice to see between the two cars, like what made them, I guess you didn't have to communicate if you follow each other. He could have waved them down, really, if he wanted to, if they was following each other. But somehow it was one was gonna go one way and the other one was gonna go another way, or the other one needed a key to get in the house and they wanted to go home and didn't want to go where they was going. But anyway, Melly allegedly went into the car. So I mean, I guess in theory they didn't necessarily have to be around for the drive by, right?
Hassan, if you
Agreed.
want to come back up, you can't be playing the music, sir.
Yeah,
We
that's
can't have you on
all.
YouTube
Yeah,
strike,
you
sir.
just can't. Yeah, you just can't play the music because Chad, they've been striking me, Hassan. I mean, I would love to hear your commentary, but they done gave me a warning, and I'm taking it seriously. I'm
So
taking it.
there goes. Did you think Sister Christine did her good circumstantial?
I
I know that's not a word.
think Christine was
Uh,
circumstancing with what she had. Christine did good. I'm gonna give her props.
well,
I did
Pam's gonna give her props. Me,
Ooh,
she did alright.
why this side?
She did the best. I'm gonna put it like this. She did the best with what she had.
That's what I'm saying. I think she did good putting everything together. She did it piecemeal. She tried to make it make sense. She had her little PowerPoints. She put time into that close, and she had the clear little photo or whatever to cover over to show the locations. She methodically did. Then you get
She
YNW
was proud of her puzzle
come
piece.
up mad. You just come up. He just come up. He trying not to get mad. He already beat red. He off theatrical. Every time they say objection, he like
He was giving every time they say objection, he get a fat neck. I
yeah.
was like,
Like it is rude though. You usually don't object during people opening and closing. That is very very rude. I would have been.
okay,
I'd side-eyed him too, but he was just. It just
yeah,
felt
he was showing out.
yeah, he was really being extra, but it wasn't much. Okay, he went over it piece by piece, but just imagine how effective he would have been with demonstrative evidence or showing up and showing the testimony of this person and the testimony check. This is their witness, and this corresponds with our witness. And
And
actually,
that's what I wanted.
are visual people, so to visualize, I've had the old school big whiteboard where you write it down as you say it. Check, check, check. You know what I'm saying? To say, yeah, they have a different way of trying to utilize their evidence, but really it's the same. A lot of the stuff corresponds. That's what I would have done to visually allow the jury to see it. All that talking, they listen to you talk for 16 days.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, the thing is, okay, like I said, the prosecution did the best with what she had. I give her that. She did the best with what she had. I mean, but she did, she just, I don't know if she ain't got no oomph to her. You don't
Okay.
have nothing
Well,
in
more
you.
people agree with you apparently because Bat just said it's a no for her too.
You
As
see? Well, it's just she ain't got her delivery is whack. That's what I'm gonna say. Her delivery is whack. And then the defense for me,
They should
his
have put DJ K up
context
there to
was
close, in
whack.
my opinion.
For me, he got the vigor, but his context was whack. I mean, it was like, bruh, just tell me what the holes is.
it
You
could have been
already
put to, Just like people are arguing about whether a car stopped or not stopped, you don't know. It's not like there was a black box taken out, like what happens in an accident where you can tell
Right.
when the stop happened and all of that. That's what will tell when a car stops. Otherwise, just saying that a car was hitting signal after signal. I'm sure my cell phone right now, and I'm sitting right here, it's hitting signals around here because I'm using it. So that doesn't necessarily show that something stopped, something was going. And there was testimony that was provided that the defense was able to pull out that you don't know if this phone was in the car, outside the car, around the car, sitting there on the corner. That came out. They could not tell from the cell phone data whether something stopped or didn't. Now, if there was
Right.
data from a vehicle that showed, like for instance, oh boy, when he hit, this is what I'm saying about sloppy investigation. If he said he hit a curb, you can almost should have been able to pull. There are black boxes in most cars because I've done car accidents.
Mm-hmm.
You can pull them out, and the time that it hits it or the car stops or whatever happens, you're able to show from the 5 seconds before that what the speed limit was and what
Yep.
happened after that. There are certain devices you can't use. That's not what was done in this trial. And they may not have had it to, they may have worked with what they had.
Well, actually, I've owned a Jeep Compass,
Mhm.
and if I'm the one of the things I was looking for that was never brought up in the trial was didn't that Jeep have front end damage?
Yeah, but it was old damage already. They said it was already damaged. So when he gave the story and said that he hit a median and he said that it crashed in the front, that wasn't they according to the prosecution, they weren't able to
Hmm.
verify that or validate it because that was
Okay,
old damage. They were
I'm
able to
just I'm gonna
damage.
tell you, I had a Jeep Compass, and if you hit the curb too hard, it records it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's all I'm saying too, because I've done car accidents. So that's why I'm saying that would have eliminated all of that if you would have got that. I don't agree. Nobody in the chat, I don't care how many emojis you do, how many laughing emojis, whatever. You're not gonna convince me as a person that deals with this, that technology from the cell phone can show whether a car stopped. That's just not gonna happen. It's not. It's not gonna show you if a car. There
It
are
won't.
certain things
It'll
like
show you an impact, but it won't show you that a car stopped.
yeah, they can show you pat, and then they go to the strongest tower. It may go to a tower that's miles away instead of the one next to you. So there are limitations. Are there footprints in your phone? Absolutely. Are there footprints where it's like a Fitbit in most phones? Absolutely. Like there's a lot of stuff that the phones can show you, and I don't think they utilized it the way the prosecutor could have utilized it better, but there was other evidence they could have tried to get. Or perhaps they did try to get it, and it wasn't there. They had the whole car, right? They was trying to do a field trip.
They still had a car. It's downstairs at the bottom of the courtroom.
So,
I just want to be clear that it is in the basement of the courtroom. So they still have the car.
why? Okay, this Brandon Fletcher person. Why are you putting crying, laughing emojis for everything? I'm not understanding. Why is that the end of your when you make your statements? Why are you putting that at the end of it? What's your point?
I,
I'm
I can
just
drop that
asking
down.
because
I
it's
can
it's
drop
not.
that down.
People. What I've learned too with this is people don't know how to this these type of individuals are why people get wrongfully convicted, and that's the only reason why stuff like that pisses me off. Just have an open mind on both sides. I think
Right.
that the prosecution they had two very effective witnesses, and I said when they were effective, but they have holes
Hmm.
in their case. Now you can believe till the eternity that he did it. The prosecution still has to prove it. That's what the issue is. They have to. We can all believe in our hearts, like, yeah, that's something that little grimy dude looked like he did. We can all think that, but unless they prove it, it doesn't matter what we think.
And that's the thing for me, because I didn't know who this little boy was or his group. I'd never heard of their music, but I watched the trial. And that's the thing is okay, he was shot. He was shot from the position where you saw Melly get in the car. But was Melly still in the car?
But they're
I
not just
mean,
saying that, I was like, and people were like in the chat, they show him getting in a car, so he the one that did it because it happened from the back seat. Okay, but they showed it from the studio. So what do we have to show that he remained in that car? That's all I was saying. I need to know he remained. Okay, so the prosecution circumstantially, to be fair, they did try to show that somebody must have still been in that seat because of the way the blood splatter was or something. Like the outline, and they were saying they had to, it was covered because if he would have gotten shot, it would have went over to the other side. But there was a body that was there. But then what was getting me too is the way they were able to tell that Henry wasn't the shooter because of the way there was blood splatter on his shirt, but they were arguing in the same breath that he changed clothes. I was just confused about that. Like,
I didn't even think about that.
How you having blood on your stuff if you change clothes? It was just certain things that just was like, where are we going with this, Christine? Where are we going?
I agree. I mean, the process. Let me tell you something. When I heard the prosecutor's opening, I was like, oof, oof. They getting ready to get this little boy.
Man,
You know what I'm saying? I felt like he was guilty off of the opening. I was like, oh my God, boy, what you do? And that was just where I was. And then I heard the defense, and I was like, yeah, that's good. But her opening was that's why I expect her closing to be fire, I guess. But her opening was fire. And I was
but
like,
you got to look at it like this too now, and this is why this hung jury is going to help the prosecution. Y'all listen to me good. If it's a hung jury, the defense could want it because they've been asking for a mistrial all up and through here. They can want it. But how this helps the prosecution is they're going to bring it back. They know every objection. They know every issue that the defense has brought up, right? To keep all this evidence out. A lot of the evidence wasn't even admitted. Remember Bill Cosby, how he got the hung jury first? The reason why he didn't get the hung jury the second time and got found guilty was because in the first trial, they wouldn't allow the deposition transcript of all those elder women that was accusing him of the same thing. In the second trial, they allowed it. Same judge, but they allowed it to be in. Now the prosecution has time to figure out how to defeat these objections and try to allow some more of this evidence to be in. Now, what the defense should do is dang near switch up their whole MO. And you got to come up with a whole strategy where the prosecution isn't even expecting what you're coming for. Because now we know each other's game, right? We know each other's game plan. We done been through a whole 16-day trial.
Yeah. That's what I was. When you say is beneficial to the prosecution, I was thinking it's beneficial to both, because you know what I asked you in this trial, but do you know on how I'm going to approach if you bring it back around? Do you know how I'm approach that?
This is not true, Anthony. If it's a hung jury, that does not make double jeopardy attaches if he's found not guilty. They can't retry him for the same thing again. So he can literally go to Bortland's trial and say, he can say, so he may testify in his trial, but a hung jury, you retry it. You don't have to retry it, but the prosecution has the option of whether they're going to retry it. This case, as big as it is, they're going to retry it. So they have the choice on whether they want to retry it with a hung jury. But if there is if he's acquitted, they can't retry him again for that same for murder because it's double jeopardy. It attaches. But go ahead. I don't know if I cut you off. I just wanted to ask the question.
That's all. I mean, you reading the chat more than I am, because the only ones that really catch me is my regulars, and if somebody start typing in all caps. Yeah. But because I know it's getting ready to go down, I just go on mute.
But you already know I'm going. Why I see them before I see super chats. Okay.
Let me tell you something. When I looked over there, I said, Lord, oh, she ain't seen it. Just don't type again. Just push the button.
Remember, y'all, evidence over entertainment, forensics over fame.
Always. And that's my point. Is the evidence that they brought, like, because I came in not knowing anything. In that opening, I was like, woof. You know what I mean? I came in, I was like, boy, why you do this? And then the more she presented evidence, I was like, okay, but okay, you ain't told me he did it yet. I mean, I
Right.
got all the evidence. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I understand in your mind the way you laying it out and what you believe, but you have not made me believe.
But see, that's why I told you guys in the beginning. I said, yeah, that sound good. I was like, but we need to watch and see what she's able to prove. Because in closing, it should be a list that she said she was going to show that. That didn't happen. She said she was going to prove that. That didn't happen. That's why I said
Right.
visuals is very important for a jury that been sitting through listening to a bunch of expert testimony. We all know about ballistics. I think all of us should be CPL holders at this point. We do
I'm ready.
expert. We know about gangs. We know about gang signs. We know
Yep.
about everything because of this trial.
Yeah, but I'm gonna take the one thing I did like the way the defense, because really the defense, I just threw away their clothes, and I'm not even gonna lie. It was like, dude, you're not making no points. You did these 13 possible suspects, and when she came back and crossed, she only marked off about five.
She did.
So where's the rest of them? They weren't investigated. Why didn't you say that? You know what I mean? Things like that. I did like the fact that he threw all the evidence on the floor on one side of the podium. I was like, you
You
did you
like them
did you
theatrics?
man? I mean, it was like they were pouring out the boxes. Did you see how he had them draped out the boxes? I was like, so you just gonna throw it all on the floor like that? Look at it. Look at this trash. Look at this garbage
Thank
that
you,
doesn't add
Cassie,
up to
for the cash
anything.
app. Thank you so much. But yeah, I'm proud of y'all though, because I'm telling you, after that opening, I think everybody that was over there in the chat, everybody was kind of like, yeah, he's done, he's cooked, and I'm like, you guys, let's just listen to the evidence. We want you because you guys could be potential jurors, so you got to know we're gonna make it like we're jurors, and we need to make sure that we are open minded. We don't want to just come up with just accusing somebody or convicting somebody without them proving their case. And you guys did that. You got when everybody was in the chat, when I said what y'all thinking, everybody was like, I don't know. I'm like, you guys are probably thinking exactly what the jury is thinking. And we learned that that's exactly what the jury was thinking today. They don't know. They're like, what happens if we don't know? Like, what happens if we can't come to a conclusion? Like, what do we do?
Right, because when they came out, they came out and when they came out and asked questions, and we are on. Well, they did a little deliberation at the end of the day yesterday, but then so today would be their full day of deliberations, and y'all already coming out. I need to see this testimony. I need to see this. I need to. See. I'm like, and then you come out again. That look, I think we a hung jury. Well, he like, hold up, y'all ain't
Right.
did a full
Y'all been
day.
here for 7 hours. Like, that was what, 5 hours in? They was like, we can't agree. They was probably back there going in on each other, man. That probably
That
was hot. I would like
That's what I'm thinking. For you to come out and say you got a hung jury and you ain't finished day one, y'all back there giving y'all doing bad things. Y'all
oh
arguing.
yeah, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall. Hopefully the jurors, it's up to them if they want to be interviewed by anybody. But man, that's gonna be interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Somebody said AD needs to take a lie detector test. Well, they're not admissible, so what do that matter? We take a lie detector test. That's not gonna help our situation.
We can take it.
And if
Can't
that's the
tell
case, I
nobody.
wouldn't believe that's a lie detector test. That you can take it if you want to. I mean, feds use it all the time, just beforehand, just to see if they want to keep pursuing you or not. They do. Some people do utilize it, but they can't utilize it as being admissible in court. You can't even bring it up that somebody has used a lie detector or passed one or failed one. So,
Oh, I didn't know you couldn't bring it up. I know you couldn't like use it,
oh, I
but
remember one trial I had the guy that we all believed really was the culprit, and he was a state's witness, and he was like, I passed the lie detector test. I was acting like sunroof. I was like, objection! I moved for a mistrial. I was really dramatic too. I was just like him. I was like, you're not
oh
gonna
you
talk about
you
no.
showed him a little D on. You gave it. You was like, I ain't gonna give you the big. I'm not gonna give you the big D, but I'm gonna give you a little D.
I was so I'm so dramatic. I'm so dramatic though, but at like to a degree. Like I have levels and boundaries, and it's methodical. But yeah, I was, but no. But I know people that it's been where the prosecutors have said, if you come in and pass a lie detector test, then we gonna take you off our suspect list. So they do use it as a tool, but it's just not admissible in court. So
Got it. Got it. Well, I mean, for me, the closing didn't do it for me. It's for to make a decision. It's like, I mean, the closing didn't shake me one way or the other. Because her, like I said, her delivery was whack, and his content,
say she was whack one more time.
it
I
was
thought
whack.
she was
The
okay. Oh
it would it's her delivery. I mean, she did her PowerPoints and stuff, but the I can't say what I want to say, but her I can't. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it at the door right there, because
they did prove he was in the car at the time. Yeah, they proved he was in the car when he left the studio. They definitely proved that it was on video. And then another thing too was, I think the prosecution, to me, did a disservice by telling Moretti, when you went for all the video cameras, you know that they only keep them for a certain amount of time. You know, it's a turnover. Some people keep them 7 days. They record over those videos in a lot of these businesses. So if you don't do a letter of preservation or go there and ask them to preserve those videos, they're going to get rid of them, or they're going to go up. At most, you may get people that keep them for 30 days. But for the most part, they're not kept like that. So for her to say, well, the reason why you didn't have it is because they only keep them for so long, to me, that was more evidence of you not investigating as you should. Because once that happened, that whole route, since you guys knew the route, because you allegedly found where these casings were and all of that, I would have immediately had somebody out there preserve it. Any wherever, polls, wherever, preserve it. See, if you go back a year later and try to get it, yeah, it ain't gonna be no video. I mean, we know that.
You're right. Even if you go a couple of months later, you might not get no video.
Yeah, to me, that just showed, honestly, that your investigation sucked. It really, and then the fact that they really didn't use Moretti as the lead investigator in his investigative capacity. They only really used him to get the cell phones in.
That bothered me. That
Like
bothered me a lot.
That was it, to get the text in, because they couldn't get it in no other way. So they found a creative way to get it in. That's really what they used them. They may not have called him. Like in the Tory Lanez case, that detective was just as horrible, and they didn't even call him at all. The prosecution didn't call him. I think it was the defense that called him to the stand, the lead detective.
That bothered me, because my whole thing is, if you're the lead detective, that means you're the one that's supposed to be providing the proof to the prosecutor, where they make a decision on whether they want to charge or not. Is that correct or no?
Say that again.
If you're the lead detective, you're the one that's gathering the evidence to give to the prosecutor, so the prosecutor can make a decision on whether they want to charge or not, right?
Correct.
Okay. So you should be the king of evidence of, you know what I'm saying?
You know
And
everything. That's why typically here, like where I'm from, the lead detective sits next to the prosecutor.
Okay, but she didn't ask him nothing about any evidence. Only thing she did was cell phones. Reading text messages. Let's read text messages together today.
What's this text? This text you got on here? He done changed it. What's this text message you should look? I need to look on there first. YNW, the cousin, then came back and he got a text message. It's his Am I showing a text message that's real? What's happening? You making me nervous, sir.
I'm nervous too. I might want to go check on my food.
You making me nervous. But I'm trying to be fair to get everybody's thoughts. They put Melly in jail in 2019, didn't even have his DNA or shell cases at the time. It's just crazy to me. I'm wondering what evidence they did have at that time, except maybe the video. off of the studio video? Is that what they put him in jail for? That's a good question, because a lot of the stuff we just know that it just came into fruition in the last 2 years. So if he did it
Right.
5 years, that is me. That, ooh, buddy.
So what did so what originally did you see
What
that
was their
said
probable
let
cause?
exactly, because all the evidence that they produced, they were like, well, when did you do this? Oh, I did this in 2020. Oh, when did you do this? I found this in 2021. And I'm like, okay, but he been in jail since when?
Right. So Jeff said the detective came in 2018, so he might not have been the original. Well, the incident occurred in 2018. So what happened was he was on originally. And how we know that is because there was another guy who was about to retire. And because he was about to retire in the next 2 years, they knew this was a case that probably was going to last past his retirement date. So they had Moretti. So this guy was on it with Moretti at the same time, because they knew Moretti was going to have to take over, because once he retired, it was going to be, he didn't want to come to court. That was what the key was, because he still had to come to court and talk about the little 15 minutes he did do on this case. So Bortland
So
didn't
did
change clothes.
you
Your World said Bortland didn't change clothes. He wore a hoodie on top of his clothes. Okay. Well, they said
okay.
changing clothes. That okay. I can. That makes sense, because
Yeah, I can see that.
say, but didn't the term change clothes keep coming up?
But they was talking about Melly changing clothes.
Yeah, we know
I
they
don't
said
remember
Melly
them talking
changed.
about Bortland changing clothes.
Yeah, I heard Bortland change, because they had like a something was in the back of the car too. One of the evidence was something in the back of the car, some piece of clothing or something. But okay, I got it. I got it. Melly is not. Let me see. Remember, it was COVID during that time. The trial might have been over if that had not happened. I think he wouldn't have, if they would have did it back then. He probably
COVID wasn't
got
here
off.
in 2018.
He
COVID
would
didn't
have
start
got off.
popping off to the end of
2020.
2019 and into
2020. They
2020.
shut the world down March of 2020, because I remember I had a case February of 2020. I had a case and everybody was in there hacking, and we was all up on each other shoulder to shoulder, and within a week they shut down the courts, and I was pissed off because I just knew somebody in there had got me sick, because they was coughing in my face. But thank God I didn't get it. But it was like,
Yeah,
I remember that like yesterday. Then it was like the end of the school year. So if you had kids, they all went online. So it was 2020 when COVID hit. So I'm not
yeah.
understanding.
It was March of 2020 is when my whole everything out here shut down. It was
I
March of it just started shutting down. But I know it had already started in 2019. At the very end of 2019 is when they start talking about it. But it
Adrian
started
said
getting worse.
the prosecutor said Bortland changed clothes in his clothing, or in her clothing. I was like, well, how did you have the blood splatter? But that would make sense if he did put something over what he already had on. That would make sense.
Yeah, because I remember them. They said they collected his clothes from the hospital room.
Right. He got arrested in February 2019. Correct. That's still a year before COVID popped off. And most of your crucial evidence, you guys watch First 48. Most of your crucial evidence is within this for that first week, where you can go collect video and data and subpoena cell phones and try to download, do data dumps on phones and all of that. That's why it's so hard for me, because I do wrongful convictions and they be from 20 years ago, child, and it's hard. People ain't around no more, deceased. You can't get video,
Right.
you can't get cell phones. People don't remember. It makes it even more hard for you to help people.
Why they didn't go get Melly clothes? I still don't understand why. If you felt this is the guy.
Hey, thanks for
Because,
joining. Hit that like on the way in. You see, I never heard of them not allowing inmate to use the phone. They told it on Law and Crime. Well, the way him and his mama was talking on the phone, it don't sound like he needed to talk on the phone. It sounds like
right. They needed to take all privileges. But
that
I saw on
might
this
help. didn't even know, but it was probably helping them.
Right, because they start using that in the trial. But I seen on this little it was another YouTuber,
You can
another YouTube clip, and where they were interviewing the mom and Melly's brother. And the mom was she got to going and she was like, yeah, I talk to him every couple of days. And the brother was like, hey, da, 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 and he just started blah, 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 and raising his hands and stuff because at that time his phone privileges was restricted, and they were like, Mom. He was kind of like, Mom, shut up. She was like, yeah, I talk to him every couple of days.
say, why don't this what I want you to do? Because I know you waiting and I don't want you to wait like for a long time. Email me the text you talking about. I don't mind putting it up at all because I see that it's sure I'm talking to the cousin. Just email it to me. My email is in the description. I don't have a problem with it, but I have to be careful because they have been flagging my channel, so it ain't nothing personal at all. It definitely ain't nothing personal. So Brandon said it takes. I'm gonna have you come up. Wait a minute. You hear me?
Yeah, this is yeah.
Yeah.
I think to my picture you can see it right there. I just like that the number, but namely she said, man, they ain't even put in for evidence. That's what I'm saying.
But
It's a
wait
lot
a
of
minute.
stuff.
Wait. 1 second. Let me stop you. How can you put it in the evidence if his mom wasn't testifying? Right? Hello? Guess he jumped off. Okay. Hello?
Well, the problem is, Pam, you asking lawyer
No,
questions.
I'm just saying, like you saying things that wasn't put in the evidence that he wanted to be put in evidence. Somebody had to authenticate it, which would be his mom, which will open her up. And so I'm assuming the defense was like, yeah, no, because we don't want you to be able to have to. Y'all don't have a privilege as son and daughter. I mean, son and mom. It'd be different if you was husband and wife. So you don't really have a privilege. So you want to come on, you got to authenticate that this is the text message. This is what was said, right? So
Right.
I'm thinking from
But
a strategy, but I get what they're saying. If there is some more proof to show that there was some type of, tension and getting the truth out. But let me answer this question. It takes a year or more for murder trials. We know that you said in trials, you said correct. I don't know. I kind of feel like you're getting smart there, but I'm gonna answer the question or whatever, and I'm not gonna take it offensively. But you have the right to a speedy trial. I would have to agree that I'm gonna wait till past the year, unless there's some circumstances. But I had a case of which it was three different. It was like three different. No, we had 5 defendants in a case, and we were able to try that within a year. It didn't take a year to go to the trial, so. That just depends on a lot of circumstances. If there's evidence they're waiting on, and you have to waive your speedy trial in the Constitution. Who wants to just sit in jail? And then what if you've been in jail for 3 years or 5 years like him and he's acquitted? They can't give you them 5 years back. So yeah, email it to me. Y'all done all dropped down on me. Okay, I ain't kicked nobody off now. Everybody just dropped down. Okay, so Anthony said they had no case without 100K track. He gave the police Melly phone. I think he should have been charged. Okay, 100 track was in the courtroom too, and he said I guess the only reason why he didn't show up before to support Melly was because he didn't know if he would be called to testify. So he was sequestered, I guess, as a potential witness. But he was there for closing. Once they rested, of course, that he knew he wasn't going to be charged, so he was there for that. So you said I'm thinking Melly planned it all. Okay. I'll put the link back up. If anybody else want to come up. It's just not enough for me not guilty. Okay, Mike. I got the link down there again for anybody else that want to join. Let's see who this is. You back up. Okay, can you hear me? I got the link.
yeah, my bad. I had I was messing with the phone. You know how we do.
No problem. What's happening?
Hey, how you
Hey,
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I've been keeping up with the trial, and YNW Juvie, his father has a YouTube channel too, so a lot of
Mm-hmm.
me be on there talking stuff. So I've been on his platform and stuff like that, talking to him, whatnot.
What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts when it comes to this whole case? And also, being on YNW Juvie's father's platform as a grieving father, because there are victims. We can't forget that in this case. So what are your thoughts? With the totality of the circumstances here.
I think the prosecution laid out a pretty solid case. Like I said, it's circumstantial. I think a lot of people, it's a circumstantial case, and a lot of people waiting for a smoking gun, and you're not going to get that with a circumstantial case. So they're disappointed that there's no like dun 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 dun, like and that's just not going to happen.
No Perry Mason moment.
Yeah, I think I know today they had Glass statement reread because that's key because the defense only got one witness, and and that's the alibi dude.
Right.
But the prosecutors is showing like in the video where dude said Trayvon Glass was asleep and he went in the house last. And the prosecutor was saying, well, you look at the video, Trayvon Glass in the front and you can see him awake, he's moving his hand. But either way, whether he got there after AD or not, he's in the house with Melly. So that means he would have seen Melly in the morning when they got up. You know what I'm saying? And he wouldn't be texting Melly like, yo, what's going on? Why would he be confused and questioning Melly about what happened and having to try to explain? Because he would know, like, you was with me in the house in the morning. There's no way you could have done that. You know what I'm saying?
Did Trayvon Glass say what time he woke up? Because all this stuff happened,
Trayvon Glass said he woke up when they got to the gate to be let in.
Right. I get that. I'm saying like once he went in the house, he went to bed. Like everybody went to bed when they went in the house. Everybody was tired and went to bed. Everybody was high and whatever else from drinking and smoking. Because that's what they do in the studio, child. If you want to go to the studio, I don't know if you go to the studio, but I got entertainment clients and you better go up in there. And if you don't smoke, you're going to get secondhand smoke when you get up out of there. Because that's pretty much what they do. I don't know if it's the creative juices, but that's what they do up in the studio. So everybody kind of left and they went to sleep or whatnot. So I'm saying, like, did they say, because all this happened early in the morning. So when did he get up?
The first time he got up, though, but here's where the story even get more contrast.
Okay.
AD said they all at that point left and went to Fredo Bang's house. Him, Melly. Glass said, yeah, we went to Trayvon Glass' house, but Melly wasn't with us. Melly wasn't in the car. He said he didn't see Melly till he arrived at Fredo Bang's house. And Melly was wearing shorts. AD saying, nah, Melly had shorts on at the house. So they got completely different accounts of what happened.
Can I interject here?
Sure.
Okay. Now, Trayvon Glass also said that he was at the house when he left with the cameraman. AD is saying he left with everybody else. So the way I'm looking at it is they left before Trayvon left to go to Bang, Fredo Bang, or whatever his name is, house.
Yeah,
that's just how I observed it.
Yeah, that was kind of the timeline.
AD said he was in the car.
But
AD said, because they call him Fetty. His nickname is Fetty. So he said, who went to the house? Me, Fetty. You see what I'm saying? He put Glass in the car with them going to Fredo Bang's house.
But you see why I'm saying that sometimes writing out or visualizing it and showing timelines and stuff really helps.
Yeah.
Like when you do closing, like just to put it all together, I just don't think it was done as succinctly by either side on how it should be. Because you heard part, we heard part. I picked up some stuff. You may have picked up some stuff. You may have noticed, like again, when I talked about the shirt with the blood splatter on it, and then the fact that they said he changed shirts, and then somebody said, well, he put on something over his shirt.
He did.
There's so many. So visualizing, most people are visual people. So seeing it out there, I think would have been more clear. I think the jury's confused. They were asking for names that didn't even testify.
Right. I mean, it's been a long trial. It's been a long trial.
Oh, I've been in longer. I've been in a trial for 3 months. That's why I was saying I wasn't gonna. That's why I said I wasn't going to that YSL trial when they were like, "You're gonna stream it, Pam?" I was like, "Hell no, no, no."
I said that the defense said Melly got out the car because he had to use the bathroom. That's why he got out the car. Like, okay, but
Well,
who leaves his?
that don't matter, right? Who if it wasn't anybody testifying to that, i.e., AD saying that, it don't matter what we say as attorneys. It's a jury instruction. What we say as attorneys is not testimony. You get what I'm saying? That's not.
Right.
That's
All
not.
right, everybody.
I was incorrect. So with JF3 and JF3 is correct. Glass said he went to the hospital, not to Frito Bang's house. And
Glass
AD
did say
did not go to the hospital. He said he went straight to Frito
Glass
Bang's
went to the
house.
hospital first with the cameraman, and then
Right.
like, if you watch the thing, he said who was all at Fredo Bang's house? Because he said I don't know who was all there. People were coming and going, and he said eventually I was the only one left at Fredo Bang's house. He said I was in the back. I was still grieving. So he was there.
Yeah, I'm not disputing you that he was there, but I'm just saying he went to the hospital. AD's testimony was they went to Frito Bang's house. They didn't go to the hospital.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm not saying. Yeah, I didn't say AD went to the hospital. No, that's not what I'm saying. But just think about it. If Glass is there and Melly is there, and Glass is going to the hospital to see what's going on with Juvie, if Melly's there, why wouldn't Melly go?
Well, this is what JF3 said. Glass said he went to Fredo's house with Drew from hospital. Then prosecution asked who was at Fredo's house. He said everyone who was at the house, including Melly.
No,
Yes, got one point to make, and I make.
No, he did not. He said
Oh,
everyone that was at
okay.
the
I'm
house.
sorry. Let's let the truth.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for hopping on real quick.
That's not what he
All
said.
right, I just want to say that just like I ain't saying who guilty or who innocent, but if I was Melly's lawyer, what I would have put to them as like they said someone was sitting in the box seat. My client got out of the car. You don't know who else jumped in the car after that. Someone else could have get in the car and do the shooting. Like my client wasn't there. He don't know nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? Like why he should have put that to them. Someone else could have been sitting in the box seat. Because my client went a separate way.
Good point. But I think what the defense decided to do is they decided to just go with the AD theory and say my client wasn't there. So whatever happened in the car, we ain't got to prove. We ain't got to prove whether it was a drive-by. We don't got to prove that it was in the car. We don't care. It wasn't our client. So that's
but that would have been good for the jury to hear to put that in their head. Like, all right, someone was sitting there. It ain't had to been Melly. It could have been any other person on this earth.
But then you would be conceding that somebody was there, which makes them think that
we don't know. It could have been just y'all saying somebody was there. It was not Melly. Simple.
But let me ask you, as a defense attorney, right? Let's say you go in there, right, and you know that drive.
Wait a minute, 1 second. Thank you so much for your comment. I know you said you wanted to say something real quick. Thank you for hopping up. I appreciate it.
All
right.
Like as you said, you're a defense attorney, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a defense attorney, right? Let's say you know the drive-by ain't that story ain't gonna hold water. You know that's going to get beat up. Do you still argue against? You still make the arguments against the drive-by like the defense did?
Do you think they made I think until the prosecution proved it, they made them prove that it was a drive-by. But if they really made an argument against it, they would have got an expert themselves.
Yeah.
You would
still just battle it either way, just to make them show what they got.
I thought it was gutsy for them to put on just one witness. I was expecting a whole. I mean, it's not their burden.
What do you think?
But I know how juries think. Juries want to know why. Juries want to know what's your. That's just how we think. It's just because we're just average citizens. They're not a bunch of lawyers on there.
What other routes you think they could have went? What other routes you think they could have went as far as defense?
This is what I was thinking. Okay, I was thinking if they was able to put Melly in the car, this would have been my defense. I would have said that because there was all these beefs with all these gangs and all of that somebody came by, was shooting in the car. I pulled out my gun, I shot back. That's what I would have said. Listen, I'd been like, listen. So it would have talked what's in the car and what's out the car. It would have proved like, hey, yes, I may have lied. He lied at first because he tried to protect me or whatever, but I was trying to protect everybody else. And that's kind of how it happened. And then at least you would have known you wasn't getting no murder in the first degree, no, but they probably still would try to bring it as first degree and not believe not a dang thing you were saying. But I mean, that's if they could put him in the car. See, I think maybe the defense would have went more of that route if they can actually prove that, you know, if they were able to prove that he was in the car. They still was just going to it the theory. He wasn't even there. It wasn't him. He wasn't there.
You accidentally shoot Stack Chaser and Juvie.
It was an accident. They was right there.
You just going crazy.
Listen, I don't go to the range. I'm not a smart shooter. I was just like,
Okay, so let me ask this question.
Like for real, I'm not making a joke of this because there are victims, and these are people's kids. These are, and I've seen families screaming and hollering and all of that. So I'm definitely not taking this lightly or whatever by us discussing this. So I just want to make sure I put that disclaimer out because I don't want no family members getting offended. I'm just saying, like, because we off rip, we were like, there are victims here, so we want to keep that in mind as well, and they want justice and they deserve justice. Because if it was my kid, I would want whoever did it to go fry.
Please.
Old school. I want
quick.
I want it by gun. I want to be able to sit up here with all my family, and I want you to stand there, and we all just
we observe, or you give us the opportunity. Okay, so I have this one question, and this is for anybody on the panel that might want to chime in. I don't know who might have been around guns, shooting. I mean, GUNs. I'm sorry to keep saying that, man. I don't know who's been around all of that. No, it's not GSR. But my thing is when anybody hears a pow, immediately you duck, you go into defense mode. How was he able to make them 2 precise shots and nobody was in straight deep? Because if you get one off and you close enough to me, we going for a fight. It's getting ready to be a tussle. If you get me, you gonna get me after I done put in everything that I have to fight you off. And so you get these 2 precise shots in these for 2 people, and like the dude in the back, you didn't see him pointing the gun, and then the dude in the
sleep. The theory is that he was asleep because he got shot in the back of the head, and the bullet came from the back and went out the front.
Okay, I'm with you. I could go with you with that. But this is my thing. If I'm sitting next to you and you do a pow and I'm asleep, I'm not asleep no more. You are not. This boy got to be quick on the draw. For real.
He's in the back seat. He shot the dude that was next to him in the back seat first, in the back of the head. So he said once that shot.
No, he shot him in the jaw. He shot him in the jaw.
The back of the head.
But why? I mean, I know motive. You don't have to prove motive, but why? The why is really bothering me. Like people you grew up with, people you went to kindergarten, y'all got pictures, you got tattoos of them on your body. Like, why would you do that? I'm sure.
I'm with you with the why, but I still don't understand. I mean, I know some precise shooters, but getting 2 of them.
You gotta understand, like even talking to his fathers, like they were in the car asleep. Like Juvie had even took his shoes off in the front. He didn't have his shoes on. He took his shoes off. He was getting comfortable. So he's in the front seat. They're asleep. And once he shot, the trajectory says he shot the one in the back of the head. That was a kill shot. He died pretty much instantly. And then he fired a shot at Juvie. The detective said he put his hands up. The first shot hit his hand. And then the second shot hit him in the head. So he fired those 3 shots. But the first shot was like, I mean, if you're sleeping, you hear that shot, you're gonna be discombobulated. You're not gonna. The person in front is not gonna understand what is even going on, or even where the shot's coming from if that person is asleep. So, if it happened the way that the prosecution laid it out,
So what is your as far as this whole gang theory and situation? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, he's definitely, if he ain't in the gang, he's acting, he got all the symptoms of being a gang member, you know. So I just say that, and I think I don't really accept the gang narrative as the motive. You know what I mean? Like I don't really go with that one. I think, but when you look at the text messages, there was a lot of turmoil between him and Sack Chaser about because the CEOs were him, Sack Chaser, and Juvie. So basically, he just killed the two CEOs. Bortland is just an artist, you know. So I think that turmoil, Sack Chaser was going at it with his mama. There's things that didn't get in, like Sack Chaser beat him, slapped him, knocked his gold teeth out of his mouth in front of his girlfriend.
Yeah.
No, so so they were having like turmoil. That's why he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna leave the house. We need to be apart." There was turmoil and stuff building up, and I think it was more about that narrative, more money motivated. I'm splitting this money it's just me. I'm splitting this money 3 ways. I got to break everybody off. So I think it was that with the mama and
what does that have to do with Juvie? Like I seen a lot of stuff that seemed like it would have pointed to Sack Chaser as far as an issue, but what does that have to do with Juvie?
That's what the $1 million question. That's what his father be asking too. And the only thing he can think is like he maybe knew Juvie wouldn't with that type of plan. You know what I mean? Like that's the only thing he can think of. Like, Juvie would have never been with that type of stuff as far as Sack Chaser. That's the only thing he could think of.
So the fact, like, he doesn't even know, honestly, why that was.
Because they don't really have no text message or bad history of turmoil like that between those two. Everything is between him, Sack Chaser, and the mom, pretty much.
Well, see, to me, I didn't gather that. I get it that she's still Melly's mom, but I didn't really see a great relationship between the two.
Melly and the mom?
Melly and his mom.
I think it's dysfunctional, and I think you know how that can be sometimes. Even though it looks crazy, he still loves his mom, even though it's dysfunctional. I mean, he talked to her crazy, like I was real crazy. But like even when he was talking to Sack Chaser, I think he was just telling him that certain things to make Sack feel comfortable. Because even Sack was saying, Sack Chaser was saying, "Man, I don't know, feel like y'all on some funny stuff." Even though Melly was telling him that, he was still like, "Nah, y'all seem like y'all on some funny stuff right now." You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's crazy. They got a weird relationship. Weird relationship, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, but part of it is she grew up with him. Like, if you have a kid that young, you grow up with the kid and you don't know how to be a mom. So you're probably more like homeboy and homegirl than a mom and son relationship.
Yeah, and I watched the podcast, an infamous podcast talking about him, and it was like she was dating a guy, and the guy had beat Melly up pretty bad when he was younger. So much bad, so he had to go to the hospital.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and after that, the mom still stayed with the guy, and Melly went and lived with his grandmother. So I think that brought about that type of tumultuous situation you see now. You know what I mean? I think maybe her allowing it to go so far, maybe guilt from certain past thing. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's how it probably got the way it is between those two.
Yeah, and he's definitely talented. Yeah,
without a doubt.
He's definitely talented. So, dang, this is all unfortunate though. Like we watching it unfold. I never thought I would even be so intrigued by this entire thing. But I mean, I'm like the jury now. I'm like, why? Like, why would this? You guys out here getting money. You guys were up and coming. Looks like you were getting shows. Why? It just none of it makes any sense.
And the crazy thing is that they were broke. I mean, like Juvie.
Who were broke? You're saying like Juvie and Sack Chaser?
Yeah, they were, because his dad was like, they really didn't see any of the money, and Melly was getting some money. Like they was giving him money to get a house, but he didn't really have a whole lot of money. They was on a family plan phone with Track.
That's true.
Mean, Bortland had
Track was making all the money.
Right. Right. Bortland had a minute phone. I mean, I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, what is going on?
That is true. But they had shows because there was a lot of emails about shows, so you guys were getting booked.
Yeah, and I think, but them shows getting split. If they splitting it 3-4 ways, manager get his cut. You know, they young, they blowing some money.
I need to see this contract with 100. I need to see how much he should have hollered at his at your girl. I need to see that contract for that manager because you shouldn't have been getting but so much.
Yeah, he living good.
Yeah, that God, the manager, what they say he had 16 mil with last time they checked. He was
Yeah, but
16 mil in 30 months.
artist. He had more than one artist though.
Yeah, he had King Von too before he died. Yeah, so yeah.
He had who?
He had King Von. He was King Von's manager.
Really?
Before King Von died. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there when Von got killed.
Oh, what a coinky dink.
Yeah, so that's why they, you know, without his phone though, like the reason that Melly really got pulled in is because of Track had Melly's phone, and he turned over the phone to the police, and that's really how what led to them going into Melly. You know, so they got that phone from him. Without that phone, the prosecution really got no case.
I agree.
You making me side eye this manager for real. That's two of your artists just hummed up, bro.
We side-eyed him in the beginning when his name was showing up on everything. I'm like, what type of control is this? Because
right.
And then the rentals, and I was saying that don't make sense to just get a bunch of rentals that they're tearing up when you can just go cash out on the car. It just seems like a control thing to have your name on. Like they got to come to you before they can do anything.
For everything.
Like
just like those text messages they kept hitting him up. Oh, I need this. I need this money. You need to send this money. We ain't gonna do this unless you send this money. We got to send it. And that, remember those text messages?
You know, one text message went to one dude and said, "Hey, can you send me $10 so I can get a haircut?" I'm like, what?
And then that's when my niece was like $10. He meant 10,000. That's how we talk. I'm like, no, he said a haircut.
He said a haircut.
That didn't have $10. I'm like, whoa, and they celebrities. Like,
I know. No, I was like, oh my, I was totally blown away. I was like, I don't.
So if any Melly people are listening, get him some new management if he walk, please.
Man, because that is nuts. You know what though? But what was interesting to me though, back to the gang situation, I want you guys to let me know if you guys picked up the same thing. What I noticed, and I didn't realize how much they come after these artists in order to have that notoriety so they can be like, those texts sound so thirsty to me. Like, let me go ahead and post me because last time I got a bunch of chicks when you posted me. Why you not calling me back? You supposed to be a part. You supposed to check in with us. You supposed to do it was like they were aggressively coming for him. And that's why the gang theory just didn't sit with me. Because I was like, they were so aggressive. But it also opened my mind of how this thing works. You know, I do people come to me for contracts. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get into, you know, all of that. So that's why it was very eye-opening that's how they get approached.
Yeah, extortion is big because
allegedly,
when they go to these different cities like LA and like those gangs control those areas. So in order for them to be safe and to be able to go to these clubs and wear their jewelry, they need a passage with a particular set of gangs to be able to maneuver and operate. And then
so you won't get hit.
Right. And the face of that gang member carries weight and they know how to maneuver. And they, you know what I mean? And when they see you with certain people, it's understood you got to pass, or he's with so and so, he's with Whack 100, and you know what I mean. But yeah, that's why all those artists are affiliated. You know what I mean? But you can see how, like, yeah, you know, I love you. The game was telling, yeah, you know, hey, bro, I love you. No, man, you know what it is. It's just. It
was great. They was like, you don't even know me, but you talking about your life for me? Like what?
And that's why when we had our conversation after the mask intruder decided to testify, when we had our conversation after his testimony, I straight up said, I was like, you could throw his whole testimony in the trash because it was like he was all over the place, and then he was so cocky that he just knew everything, and it was like, bro, that's not how any of this works. He's talking that guy was talking like he was in like he lived in, I'm gonna give an example, Detroit or LA or somewhere, and this is what the Bloods do and this is what the Crips do.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is what the Bloods do and what the Crips do in LA and what the Bloods do and the Crips do in New York, it's night and day. I mean, to be honest with you, it's totally different. They have different rules, they move differently, all of that. And he was generalizing everything, you know what I'm saying? And
Well,
so I was
he
like,
didn't
you could
know what
just throw
some
you
stuff.
away.
He didn't know what some of the words meant that I think Cardi B mentioned in one of her raps. I was like, I knew what that meant just because of what she
Right.
said in one of her raps. So how you don't know what it meant? But okay, so Renard said all money goes through the management. Absolutely. Typically it does, but there's only a percentage, and they also have to account for every dime in your contract. Like for
It's
instance,
called books.
the manager is going to get your book should always be open in your contract that you can always go check for your and have your own separate accountant and your own separate attorney. You get
Right.
15% depending on if it's net or gross, however you decide to negotiate it. But it's a lot to that. Just because it goes through your manager don't mean they got the ability to just hold your money. Like you get a percentage. That's it. You and it ain't and you bet not. And 15%, in my opinion, is being nice.
I don't know if Melly know what booked is because I almost had epilepsy trying to read his text messages.
That's true.
I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, how is the other people even understand you and me, Cat, and I know, and I'm like, oh my God. Jesus.
Listen, I just checked out. I checked out. I couldn't even, if you told me what they said, I would just believe you because
It was
I
hard to read in court.
I was like, who?
I agree.
Teacher is mad right now. His English teacher is over there like, oh.
Yo, I know the court reporter's like, I don't even know what to
Right.
do. It's like,
I would love to read the court reporter's transcript.
I record this. I go, no, you.
He was like, in the what? It was like, what? What the hell you just say?
Hey, I noticed too. Like, it's funny because when you got white people and black people, right? The white dude is reading stuff, be like, yeah, N word, blah blah, N word. Then the black dude come back, so talk about me, nigga.
Yeah,
like, I'm like, this is ridiculous, man.
And that was one of the things that bothered me is they were reading these text messages, and the thing about the text message, if you let a white person read it, it means one thing. You let a black person read it means something totally different.
Well, some of the words wasn't even gang. It was every day. Like my kids talk like that. I've talked to them like, it was the average stuff that you say. They were making it like it was gang terminology. And I'm like, wait, hold on.
But see, you're reading it because you know the culture. They're reading it in a different context.
Right.
I think they needed the gang was just like from my understanding was to get the death penalty. Right. I think the death penalty.
Right, you're right.
Yeah. So I think that was kind of like just like a shot at the, you know what I mean? Like a pow.
A shot in the dark. Yeah.
Somebody get hit.
Because that's how they could throw in the premeditate. That's how that helps them with the premeditation.
Yeah.
And he was doing it because.
Yeah, and you get more text messages
in. Yeah, for the death penalty.
Yeah, you get more text, and it was able to get a whole bunch of text messages in. You know what I mean? So you can get more words coming from. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I thought even if they did find him guilty, that he wouldn't get the death penalty because I didn't think the gang would hold any that much weight. You know what I mean, in terms of committing the crime.
Yeah.
But I think this is almost the biggest thing since OJ.
Man, right? And then when people said that in the beginning, folks were getting offended at the young people. And I'm like, no, there's literally 50,000 people watching this trial on Law and Crime.
I know, I saw it. Yeah.
It really is huge.
It was 30,000 people when I clicked on waiting for the verdict. It wasn't even nothing on just silent.
There.
I did too. They weren't doing nothing but showing the top. They were showing the top of the flag, and it was like I was like, okay, well something must have happened. When I said something, I said let me rewind it because there's a lot of people in here, and I was rewinding. I was like, it's just the top of the flag.
They the chat going at it. They going
Yeah,
at it.
Yes.
they like really beefing. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know. Well, it was nice talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on and enlightening us.
Right. I subscribe to your channel. This is my first time seeing your channel, so I
I
subscribe.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all. It was good. It was a good conversation. I'm gonna tap back in with you in the future.
All right. Thank you so
I
much.
enjoyed you.
All right.
Yeah.
Me too. Have a good one.
You too.
You too.
All right, y'all. You know, I've been on here for 2 hours. You know, I'm a 1 hour chick. So, so y'all know you got something to say. Cupcake just been on here chilling. You got something to say? Say your final goodbyes. Thank you guys all in the chat. Make sure you guys hit that like. I'm gonna get with Black Letter Law. Maybe we'll come on after the verdict if she's cool with it, because I know she'll probably be on Law and Crime, and then we'll go over what the verdict is, whether it's a hung jury, guilty, not guilty. I'll probably put up a poll or something so we can see where everybody is. But I think it was a good conversation. We still have some people that split. Some people think it's going to be a hung jury. Some people think not guilty. Some people think that the prosecution proved their case, as the person that just came on here and gave his insight.
Pam, Black Letter Law said bring her up.
Oh, let me put the thing on here. Put the link back on here. I should have pinned it, huh? So I wouldn't have to keep putting it back in the chat. Cakes.
That would be a good
still on
idea.
there? Cupcakes. She just on here.
She living on mute. That's
She said, "Child, I was muted the whole time." Cupcake. Hello, Cupcake. Girl.
she living on mute. Just leave her. Let her live in her corner. Let her live.
Right. They know over here. I'm like, I'm a good hour, baby. I'm gonna get you a good hour of some legal commentary. Then I'm like, out.
I agree. I like that we could discuss it. That you know what I mean. And everybody has their own point of views, and we can even debate without it going into an argument or anybody disrespecting the other person. So
Wait a minute. Hold on. What didn't happen? Let me add her to the stream. Can you hear me, Black Letter Law?
I can. Hello.
Hey.
Ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. I'm gonna see you in a few though. I know you're gonna go for the Tory Lane stuff. I'll be there for that.
Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, we should get coffee.
Yes.
Or some drinks. Okay, girl, I am so sorry. I missed you guys. And hey to your fam. I love you. I love following you guys. And but can I ask, what do y'all think about the closing from the defense? Like them not going with DLK?
Boo.
Girl, I'm like, why?
trash. Bad idea.
Why? Why are we changing the narrator in the middle of the book?
I don't know. I think they should have stuck with DLK. I don't know why they had the other guy come. That didn't make any sense to me. I don't think he's as effective.
Okay. And so, I mean, I got so much. The thing that was wild, I was looking back at the testimony from, was it the crime scene investigator? They said somebody was actually in the rear driver's seat when the shooting occurred. So somebody was there. And the way they showed the little, when they sprayed the little stuff and they saw the blood, like nothing was on the rear driver's side. So somebody was there.
Yeah, that's what they were saying in the closing. I did hear that, where they were saying that means that it was a body there because there was no splatter or no blood or nothing on there. So
who was it?
That's the question.
I want to know. I've got so many questions.
Maybe it was all of the bags that they can't find.
There we go.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a person, right? It could have been something that was on there.
Yeah. And what about, I found the alibi witness super credible.
I did too. I thought he sounded
okay. That's what I agree.
I thought he sounded I thought he was a good, I've been wrong before.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I thought he was a good witness.
It's just super good. He was so even on both sides. He was even. He was forthcoming. It was like He wasn't combative. I was like, I like this dude a lot.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
I thought, and he seemed matter of fact, like he wasn't really, you know, he had a little discrepancy whether Melly hit him coming in or
Right.
climbed over or whatever. Like, but for the most part, you know, like the other guy, Glass, he said he was in the back seat and he was really in the front seat.
Yeah.
That's that until the video. So a lot of that stuff that just threw me off after that because I'm like, and then you were asleep, so that corroborated it. So you didn't really know what was happening. I was like, okay.
But look, when the cross-examination came, that prosecutor, she was so angry. She was like, and why didn't you mention that in this statement? And the defendant said, it was never asked. I was
right, which was a good response.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You never asked me that question, so I never just gave that information. But I think she could have crossed him better.
Absolutely.
I didn't like her cross on him. I think she could have got him caught up a little bit more. She couldn't frazzle him. Her cross wasn't very effective. But you know, the prosecution is used to direct. So it's what happened next? What happened next? Just tell your story. They're not as potent, you know, as great at cross, because that's all defense has is cross.
They don't have to try very hard.
Yeah,
and you can see. Yeah. Okay. So, man, thank you so much for having me up here.
Thank you for coming up, girl. But yeah, we get the verdict. We're gonna have to coordinate so you can come back up. I know you'll probably be on long crime, but you know, think about a second after you get done with your main gig.
Absolutely, girl. I'll text you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for coming up. Have a good night.
All right, bye, fam. Talk to you later.
All right, bye. All right, guys, we about to shut this down because your girl is tired. I gotta go eat. But
we're gonna shut it down. I'm ready to go now. I done had 2 lawyers. I'm real happy. I'm gonna go back to verdict watch.
Yes, we are on verdict watch. We will be back. They deliberate in the morning. So if we get a verdict tomorrow, child, we'll be right back here tomorrow doing what we did today. Thank you for everybody that contributed to the platform. And you guys have a good weekend. And make sure that you stay safe. And just thank you guys for real, because you didn't have to come over here. I know a lot of people are talking about it. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit the like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time. I love each and every one of you guys again. Be safe out there.
Yeah. So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit of accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.